The past simple is one of the most important tenses in English, so it's important that we know how to use it. So in this lesson, we're going to learn what the past simple is, how to make sentences and questions in the past simple, and how to pronounce ed endings. You'll also take a quick quiz to test what you've learned. Make sure you download the free past simple PDF. It has all the information from this video and you can find it in the description. We use the past simple to talk about things that started in the past and ended in the past. These actions are complete. They are not happening now. Here are some examples. I flew to Fiji. They saw him. You loved swimming. We use the past simple to talk about our experiences or to tell stories or just talk about our day. And to make the past simple, you need three parts. First, you need a subject. That's I, they, you, the dog, the table. Next, we need a past simple verb or verb to, like flew, saw, and loved. Lastly, we usually add an object. That's the thing that the verb affects, like to Fiji, him, and swimming. These are really good past simple positive sentences, and they are the most normal way to make them. But there is a secret extra way. Check this out. I did fly to Fiji. You see, I've changed things up a little bit there. I've added the word did, and I've changed the verb back to its base form, to its present tense form. I did fly to Fiji. So what's different? Why would I say it like this? Well, I'm actually adding stress or emphasis. You can imagine maybe my friend doesn't believe me, and I want to make a stronger point. I did fly to Fiji. And notice did is slower, it's louder, and the pitch is a little bit higher. I did fly to Fiji. They did see him. You did love swimming. Now take a look at these two sentences. They're a little bit different because they don't take regular verbs. They need the verb to be. And the verb to be in the past simple is was and were. Was for I, he, she, it, and singular nouns. I was tired. The dog was hungry. And were for you, we, they, and plural nouns. They were here. The children were happy. Now here's a top tip. Check out my pronunciation for these words. Was and were. Not was and were. Was and were. Okay? That's because native speakers like to use weak forms. We're a little bit lazy when we talk. So listen closely. I was tired. They were here. I was tired. They were here. I was tired. They were here. If you can talk like this, using these weak forms, you'll sound more fluent and more like a native speaker. To make a negative sentence, we need didn't and the base form of the verb. That's the present tense form of the verb. I didn't fly to Fiji. They didn't see him. You didn't love swimming. So why are we using the present tense verb to make a past simple sentence? The reason is we have did. Did already tells us that this whole sentence is in the past simple. We don't need two words to tell us that. Did already does that job. So what about the verb to be? I wasn't tired. They weren't here. All we're doing is adding nt at the end. Now, all of these are contractions, but you can say the full words. Did not, was not, were not. So why would you do that? Maybe for academic writing, like a university essay, or to be more formal in your writing. When we speak, it's to add stress. So check this out. I did not fly to Fiji. They did not see him. You did not love swimming. I was not tired. They were not here. Okay, you notice when I say not, it is slower, it is louder, maybe the pitch is a little bit higher too. To make a question, we need did plus the subject plus the base form of the verb and then maybe an object. Did I fly to Fiji? Did they see him? Did you love swimming? These are all yes/no questions. To answer them, we need yes subject did or no subject didn't. Yes, I did. No, they didn't. For the verb to be questions, we don't need to add any words. We just take the words we have and we move them around a little bit. Was I tired? Were they here? These are also yes/no questions. Yes, I was. No, I wasn't. Yes, they were. No, they weren't. But sometimes we don't want to hear yes or no. We want to hear some more information. So we can add question words to the start of our questions. Why did I fly to Fiji? When did they see him? How did you love swimming? When was I tired? When were they here? Most past simple verbs are regular. That means we just take a present verb, we add ed, and we're done. Like this. Walk becomes walked, play becomes played, and want becomes wanted. But it's not that easy, because the pronunciation can be different. Listen again. Walked, played, wanted. What's going on there? Let's take a look at this one first. The last sound of all of these words is unvoiced. K, p, s, and sh don't use the voice. They just use the air or our breath coming out. We can test this by putting our hands here. Try saying these sounds. K, p, s, sh. Yeah, there's not a lot we can feel there. We can feel the air going through, but nothing else. So we add t. Walked, stopped, danced, finished. For these words, they all end in a voiced sound. It means we do use our voice. Try saying these sounds with your hand here. A, z, v, n. You can probably feel a lot more now. You can feel your voice. It's a kind of vibration. So we add d. Played, used, loved, and cleaned. But what about these words? These are a little bit different, but the rule is a little bit easier too. If the last sound is t or d, then we add id. Want becomes wanted. Decide becomes decided. Need becomes needed. And hate becomes hated. Now, native speakers don't know this rule. They couldn't explain it to you. But they can use these words perfectly. That's because they've had a lot of practice listening and using this language. And you can do that too by listening to songs and podcasts, by watching TV, and then finding a way to speak. Now let's talk about the spelling rules for ed. For most verbs, we just add ed, like in walked and played. But some verbs, like live and love, already have e. So we just add d. Lived, loved. If you have a short verb that ends in a vowel and a consonant, you need to add that consonant again and add ed. For example, stopped. O is a vowel, P is a consonant. So we add P again and ed. Now we have stopped. Or let's say travel. Travel has E, which is a vowel, and L, which is a consonant. So we add another L and then ed. Travelled. If your verb ends in a consonant and Y, you need to change the Y to an I and add ed. So study has consonant, which is D, and Y. So change that to an I, then add ed. Studied. Or the same with carry. A is a consonant, So change that Y to an I and add ed. Carried. And lastly, if your verb ends with C, add ked. So panic becomes panicked, mimic becomes mimicked. So when you're writing these words, that's a lot of rules to remember. If something looks wrong, come back to the rules. Practice with simple words, and soon enough, it will feel natural. It would be nice if every verb had an ed ending, but unfortunately, English has a lot of irregular verbs, verbs that don't follow the rules, verbs that we have to learn one by one. You probably already know a few of them, like go, went, eat, ate, run, ran. In fact, irregular verbs are more common than regular verbs. We use them more often. So it's really important that we know them. Here are 8 base verbs. You're going to watch 8 clips from film and television, and I'd like you to look for the irregular past simple verbs. I'll give you the answer after each clip.
She said it was to protect us. She said it was to protect us. She said it was to protect us.
They made all that belongs. They made all that belongs. They made all that belongs.
So they took away our land. So they took away our land. So they took away our land.
They came to see the Queen, of course. They came to see the Queen, of course. They came to see the Queen, of course.
In the days that followed, I barely saw Lucas. In the days that followed, I barely saw Lucas. In the days that followed, I barely saw Lucas.
But I knew something wasn't right. But I knew something wasn't right. But I knew something wasn't right.
It seems you two got on well. So it seems you two got on well. So it seems you two got on well. But he gave me this. But he gave me this. But he gave me this.
There are many more irregular verbs, and maybe you know some. Share them down in the comments and let's help each other to learn. Don't worry if you get something wrong. Practice makes perfect. Now it's time for your quiz. Fill in the gaps using the words in brackets. Some words might need to be changed, others don't. We'll do the first question together. Last night a great movie. Okay, what is the past simple form of watch? For this one, we just add ed. Last night, I watched a great movie. Okay, good luck with the next 7 questions. Okay, we've got not, so this is a negative sentence. I'm going to use didn't, and then we're going to keep the base form of the verb, clean. They didn't clean the house before the guests arrived. We can see this as a question from the question mark, so I'm going to start with did. Then we're going to keep the base form of the verb. Did she study for the test yesterday? past simple of make is irregular. It's made. They made a cake for the birthday party. The past of decide is decided. We already have an E, so we'll just add D. We decided to go home early. This is another negative sentence, so I'm going to say didn't, and then eat will keep the same in the base form. I didn't eat breakfast this morning. We have another question here, so I'll start with did, and we'll keep the base form of hear. Did you hear about the new restaurant? The past simple of go is irregular. It's went. They went to the park early in the morning. The past simple is often used with time expressions to show when something happened. These can make our sentences clearer and easier to understand. For example, I ate dinner at 6 p.m. They went to Paris 2 years ago. He stayed at a hotel for a week. These time expressions tell us about specific times and durations, but students often mix them up. So let's go through them one by one. Use at for specific times. I ate dinner at 6 p.m. The movie starts at 8:30. They arrived at midnight. Use on for specific days and dates. We met on Monday. Her birthday is on the 5th of July. They got married on Christmas Eve. Use in for longer time periods. I was born in 1994. They moved here in July. We'll go on holiday in the summer. Ago shows how long before now something happened. They went to Paris 2 years ago. She won the lottery 6 days ago. They moved to London 10 months ago. For shows us how long a past event lasted. He stayed at the hotel for a week. They talked on the phone for an hour. The children played for the whole afternoon. Until shows us when something stopped. We waited until midnight means we stopped waiting at midnight. She worked there until 2018. She stopped working there in 2018. He stayed in bed until 10 a.m. means he got up at 10 a.m. So until tells us when something ended, but it doesn't tell us when it started. But from and to tell us when something started and finished. I was there from Tuesday to Thursday. He lived from 1916 to 1998. The shop was open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Today you learned that we use the past simple for completed actions in the past. You learned how to make positive sentences, negative sentences, and questions using the past simple. You learned about the pronunciation rules and the spelling rules of verb ed, and you learned about irregular verbs too. We use the past simple to talk about our experiences or to tell stories. But what about when we don't know who did something? For that, we need the passive voice. For example, my phone was stolen, or Big Ben was built in 1843. The passive voice is everywhere. It's in the news, it's in business, it's even in everyday conversation. So, leave a comment using the past simple, and then subscribe so you don't miss my next lesson on the passive voice.